Hello and welcome back. I believe we are on video 4 here of the Lake Personal Lab. In the previous video, we were kind of midway through a task. We had just taken the first module of our amplifier and made a bi-amped main. Now we're going to do the same thing for the second side of the mains, right? Because we're in stereo. So back to Lake here, and I'm going to go back to my home screen. And of course, that is our main right there. It's actually, we got to do the outputs, route the outputs before we do that. So let's do that. This is going to introduce you to a new screen here. While we've selected that left main, I'm going to go into modules and I'm going to go to IO config. And IO config is my favorite page here in Lake because it shows you a block diagram. And as you guys know, I love block diagrams of signal flow. And this is the block diagram for each of the modules in the amplifier in the frame, and you can see that the first module is different, right? Because it's got that bi-amp 2 outputs going on there, and we're going to need to get the outputs routed correctly of that. This here at the end of the signal flow, of course, is the outputs on that magnifying glass. I'm going to click on it, and here are my outputs, and these are the power outputs of the amplifier, and I want to set up them to be basically 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1 and 2, and I want the lows to come out of output 1 and the highs to come out of output 2. And if I click on that, it doesn't work because I need to disconnect all the amplifier outputs as they are routed. This button right here will disconnect them all. And it says, are you sure you want to disconnect them? I go, yep. Now they're all cleared. And I'm basically going to make the lows come out of 1 and the highs come out of 2. And I'm going to exit this. And now we can go back to home. And look, and actually I do need to go back into modules, excuse me. So back into modules, I didn't really need to go to home. I could have instead, here was the IO config, I could have just exited the IO config and gone back to the modules page. And here's the cool thing. I need to basically make this second module the right main. So in order to do that, there is a copy paste module feature, which makes things pretty easy. I can select the module that I'm in, copy it, go to module 2, which will be our right main, and paste module. And it says, are you sure you want to overwrite? And I go, yeah, I want to overwrite. So now, when we exit the copy paste mode and we go back into IO config, you should see that both these first 2 modules are set up to be bi-amped. Let's check the outputs. I could check any of these 4 outputs would work. They all show you the same thing. And it looks like I do need to configure the second amplifier to be output 3 and output 4 for low and high. So we've got this amp configured. Congrats, that's good. It'd be nice to name them. I'm going to exit IO config so you can know what these actually are. Let's go back to the left one here and hit the label and lock button. Something we didn't do earlier, let's label the amplifier. So in order to label the amplifier as a whole, let's hit label frame. And I don't know where in the instructions I told you to do this. I may have skipped it inadvertently, or this may be the right spot to do it. Let's find it. Labeling. I'm a little bit ahead of where I wanted to be. We're going to basically, we're limited in characters. I don't remember where I exactly told you to do it in the assignment. But I may be deviating from the instructions here, but for the sake of keeping the video going, let's just name it AMP1 mains. And I know we're limited in characters here. Actually, that worked, right? So AMP1 mains. So the entire frame is named that. And now let's label the module. So label the module. And that one's going to be mains left. And enter. And let's get the other one, the B channel, name it module, label module, mains right. So we've named our modules, we've named our frame. Now, these other 2 modules here are not going to be used. This is a 4-channel amplifier, and we are using these 2 modules to use. This module's using amplifier channels 1 and 2, and this module's using channels 2, 3, and 4. So we don't need these processing modules. They are useless, and they're going to be in our way on the screen as it gets more complicated. So what we're going to do is make a new page to hide these. So I'm going to exit label, and I'm going to go back to, oh, there it is. We're still in the modules page. Add page, and it added a new page. Of course, we want to label that page, so we hit the label and lock. And up, I did that wrong. My apologies. Pages, we need to be in the page label, and let's just call that unused. Now going back to our main page here, let's take these modules that we're not going to use, the ones from the amplifier that are never needed, and drop them on the unused tab. And we'll drop this one on the unused tab. And back to our mains, and we've got our left main and our right main, all good. I think it's probably a good time to save. So I'm going to go back to the home screen and hit the store recall. And of course, I'm going to hit store system, and it's going to ask me, I'm going to save over my previous name, Personal Eric. Okay, it's going to warn me. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And I'm pretty sure this is a good place to stop. I think this is where I am in the instructions for stopping. And we have gone through all the way to this point. I think this is a good time. We'll make another video in a moment.